In today's show, we discuss what is Hoeflation and what causes it.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tayo Boya. Tayo, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you're keeping safe and well.
Yeah, what the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh? So anyway,
I
I know
love
what you're
this
going to
cheery
ask.
disposition. You know what I'm going to ask, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're going to ask. And anyway, fortunately, I've been studying the works of Dr. Isaiah Henry Matatamba.
You keep bringing him up. You brought him up in the last show.
Yes. And today I want to share with you something he said, and with the hello audience, or something that he
Hooray!
said. He
At
said,
least you said hello. Hooray!
yeah, well, because I'm studying his works, and listen to this. When a man lets his thoughts speed faster than wind, they will always catch the clouds. When a man lets his thoughts speed faster than wind, they will always catch the clouds. Wow. Amazing.
How does that mean?
Why are you laughing?
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you know your thoughts. You know the wind.
Yeah.
And you know clouds. So what's the problem? Oh, okay, let's just carry on. Let's just carry on. I mean, honestly,
Okay, this is nonsense.
I'm so glad that the poor man, R.I.P., rest in peace. He's because you laughing at his life's work here. Good grief.
He needs to go back to another career.
What? You're slandering the dead here.
It doesn't make any sense. How did he get notoriety from things like that? Anyway.
Anyway.
Yes, indeed.
I don't.
Indeed.
I mean, I get it.
Okay.
Maybe because I let my thoughts fly faster than the wind, and they catch the clouds. So I don't know why you can't do the same. Why you can't do the same thing?
Okay. I'll leave you to posturize over those thoughts.
Okay,
Indeed.
all right.
Indeed.
Fair enough.
Okay. Right. Before we move on with the topic of today, I again want to thank our wonderful audience out there, you, the viewer and listener, for contributing on our with posts on our TNT talkers on Facebook and all the various platforms that you happen to be on. We do appreciate it. Keep those comments coming in, especially on TNT Talkers, where we're getting quite a vibrant community of people chatting away and discussing a couple of things, which is good. So keep that coming in. Right, let's move on with today's topic. And this is one that Tayo chose. And the title is, What is Hoeflation and what causes it? Now, I was never heard this word before. You brought it up. So do you want to kick things off?
Sure. Hoeflation is a colloquial term that combines two words. Inflation. So it's a portmanteau word, if you like. It's got inflation, that's the inflation part, Hoeflation. So it's HOE, inflation, right? And HOE is what is it? It's
American term.
It's an American term,
which isn't very
well for a prostitute. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a prostitute, but it's for hoe. I think it's a shortening of whore.
Oh, I see.
See, originally, yes, it was the shortening of whore, and then the rappers got a hold of it, and then it became hoe.
Okay.
And for those of you who like it when I throw out extra information that you might not necessarily be interested in, but what the hell? You must allow your thoughts to fly faster than the wind, which Tony claims he doesn't understand, but there we go. So you might not know this. I don't think Tony would know this.
No, probably not.
But do you remember when you had those old sort of Texas Instruments type calculators back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s?
Our younger listeners wouldn't have a clue about this, but yes, I certainly remember.
Yeah. So you remember when you used to type out numbers and then turn the calculator upside down to make different
Yeah, yeah,
words?
yeah.
Okay. So one of those things that you now that you make is 304.
Okay.
And when you turn it upside down is HOE. Ho.
Ah,
So another way of saying ho in polite society is to say a 304.
okay. I didn't know that. That's
But there we
interesting.
go, you see?
Mm,
So Hoeflation is this portmanteau words that means the inflationary cost of prostitute, basically, of
okay.
prostitution. That prostitution has become quite expensive. Only it doesn't refer to ladies of the night, to sex workers.
Okay.
No, it refers to modern Western women.
Isn't that rather derogatory? Because surely modern Western women aren't all in this category, are they?
I mean, the bad news is, yeah,
Oh, no, 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 no.
yeah. I mean,
Whoever's coined
obviously
this
there's not
term has
100%.
clearly got a gripe.
Well, when enough people behave in a certain way, then it becomes a stereotype. I mean, stereotypes exist for a reason. I
Indeed.
mean, yes. So if someone has come up with Hoeflation and if the word is taking off, it does seem anecdotally, at any rate, to be pointing towards something that people are noticing. And the phraseology of the definition, the common phraseology, is that modern men have to work 10 times as hard as their grandfathers to win the attentions, to win the attraction, sorry, of women who are 20 times worse than their grandmothers. And that's the inflation part. Do you see?
Yes, indeed. But
Uh,
is this element risen?
Sorry?
Is this,
Risen.
yeah, has it risen? Has it come about
Oh, ho.
because of, no, this term, as well as this reference to Western women,
Hmm.
is it come about because of societal issues in terms of we have got too many men now compared to the women pool? So women can, it's like supply and demand.
Hmm.
Women can raise their price because they feel that they can, because
Hmm.
there's too many men out there that they can pick and choose from. Or is this sort of statement I'm making nonsense?
I wouldn't go as far as say it's nonsense, but it's uninformed. The the reason that we men who think about these things, the MGTOW, the reason we feel that this is happening is because of what's the expression they use again? On no, I've forgotten the term, but it's unrealistic expectations that women have got due to the influence of social media. So in social media, a lot of women are showing. Now, you and I don't know about you, but I don't do TikTok. I'm not on TikTok and I'm not
No.
on Instagram. Okay. But people who are, especially women are apparently they're really big into TikTok in America. And maybe even in the UK. I have no idea. But what is happening is that there are women who and Instagram, they're showing the lifestyle of being flown out to exotic holiday destinations by wealthy men for weekends and for jaunts and things, people taking other people. I mean, some women talking about, oh, we went to Rome to watch some a rock concert or something, to see a band. So and then he's got a Ferrari and this and that. So these women see other women who are living the lifestyle and they want that lifestyle too. And so they start saying on dating apps that you've got to have the sixes.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
aware of
you
sixes?
mentioned it before. Do you want to clarify for our audience who may
Sure.
not be aware?
Sorry, my eye is streaming because I've got it's pollen or whatever it's called, hay
Oh,
fever.
what? Hay
So
fever.
yeah, that's making my eyes stream, unfortunately.
Okay.
So yeah, the sixes are he's got to be over 6 foot tall. He's got to earn six figures, and he's got to have a six pack. Yeah, exactly. Giggle, chortle. And the thing is, you're laughing, but these women are not laughing. They're serious. And this is probably the essence of Hoeflation. And it goes further. It's like if you take, so not everybody's going to be over 6 foot tall, not everybody's going to earn 6 figures, but if not, at the very least, what they expect from men on a date. Now, a lot of these people are feminine. A lot of these women are feminists.
Wow, you're
No,
already
I'm saying the people we're
counting
talking
a
about,
big.
a lot of them are feminists, right?
Okay.
A lot of women are feminists, and they say, yeah, we're feminists. I mean, I got tons of videos, tons.
Okay.
They say I'm a feminist, but I like a traditional man.
But that's
You're a
not
feminist.
compatible, is it?
Well, of course it isn't. But you're talking about women, so it doesn't make any freaking sense. You're feminist. You don't want to split the bill. You want a man to take you, and a lot of women say that the man has got to spend at least $200 for the first date.
What? Well, who sets these things up, and who makes these claims? I mean, it's
These are the
just
claims that
nonsense.
people are saying that if you women, not people, women are actually finding men who do this. So if you can't do it, there's a new phraseology. You are dusty. Have you heard that before?
No.
Well, I think it means you're dusty means that your wallet has got cobwebs on it.
Okay.
You don't like spending money. You're a miser, basically.
Right. But I would
So,
spend my money on someone who's worthy, not someone who expects it.
well, again, you're a man, so you're
No,
logical.
but also
Well, they said they've
the
dressed up, you
men
see.
who
They said they've
are,
dressed up for you, that they spent hours making themselves look nice for you, that's their effort that they have put in.
I certainly tell you what, it would be cheaper to find a hoe that actually spends money on someone doing that and having all these expectations, because I'm sorry, they're living in cloud cuckoo land.
But there are men who do it.
Because the men have got no self-esteem then.
Well, yeah. But
Or the
they don't
men
like those men, by the way.
are hoping
Mm-hmm.
to, how can I put it, use the women.
Oh yeah, we call it dump and pump.
Okay.
The pump and dump, sorry. Pump and
Right.
dump.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so the men are up for this game as well. They're saying, okay, you're going to provide for me for this evening. That's how they're going to see it. And women will then justifiably complain that the men have been using them, but they're bringing it on themselves if they're expecting this sort of return on a date. I mean, what? Are you
Yeah.
sure we're talking big numbers here? Are we talking edge cases?
We're talking big numbers, and that's the reason why about 60% of men in America now identify as being MGTOW. That's the reason why. Because they say this is why we're talking about Hoeflation. This is why we're talking about Hoeflation. You've got maybe we're going to start splicing some videos into our shows, because I've got shows of the women themselves. These are not third parties. This is not someone saying a woman said. This is the women themselves saying. So there's a video of one woman saying, "Look, I'm top class. I'm high value. I hate this expression. I mean, human beings can't be value. But they've got this a high value man and a high value woman, and I hate those expressions. I don't
Indeed.
think we should be using them.
No, I don't think anyone this side of the pond does.
Yeah, it's horrible. It actually devalues humans.
Yeah, of course it
Funnily
does.
enough.
Yeah,
So I said, I'm a high value woman. I expect a 6-figure man earning at least 6 figures. And I don't cook. I don't clean. All right. I'm not going to do his laundry.
well, you're not a six-figure woman, sorry.
And then she read out this list of things that she wouldn't do. I was like, and a lot of the comments in the video, under the video, were people saying, "You're not actually married. I mean, how are you married?"
Is she married?
No, she's saying that's what her husband, that the husband she gets must not expect her to do any of these things. She's setting these very high standards for the man who's going to be her husband.
Yeah.
But he has to understand that she doesn't cook, she doesn't wash.
So what's her end of the bargain?
I can't answer for her. I've seen a lot of people asking the same question. Well, what do you know this horrible expression? Well, there's another horrible expression. What do you bring to the table?
Yes.
A lot
What
of
does she
women's
bring to the table?
well, a lot of women
Sex
will
on
answer.
demand,
A
maybe?
lot of women answer, I am the table. They say, I am the table.
In what respect?
Well, in the respect that you, as a provider, because you see, to be a real man, you should be a provider.
Okay.
Why aren't you a real man?
Okay.
If you don't provide, you're not a real man.
Okay. I get that.
So yeah, so she's the receiver of your provisions.
And in return?
She will receive more.
No, no, no. I want something in return for my labor in order
Yeah.
to look after this said woman.
Mm-hmm.
I expect something in return. I expect being looked after. I expect
No.
being
You're
provided for.
misogynist now. What, do you want
No,
us to go
no,
back into
no,
the
no,
kitchen?
no, no.
That's
Guess
what they
what?
would say. That's the
Well,
argument. They would say you're being a misogynist.
take me
You
to
wanted
a
to go
court
back.
of law on that statement.
Well, if they do, you'll lose your house.
I wouldn't lose my house because I'd have nothing to do with them.
Uh,
It's called quid
well,
pro quo. What do I get back in return
you are
if I'm
now.
giving you a labor and giving you my sweat and brow to bring in an income to ensure that we're looked after? I expect something in return, and that return either means sexual favors whenever I want.
Ah, what? You want to be
Whenever,
accused?
no, I'm giving you something. I'm giving you a house. I'm giving you. What do I get back in return?
But by the way, you know what? On a serious level, if you tried that and she says rape, you're in big trouble.
Well, then I'm afraid that person has got nothing to do with me.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you that this is what women are saying. So you've
Well, the
got to be
women are
very
deluded.
well.
Can you?
Hoeflation,
Yes.
hoeflation. This is the problem.
Do you know what? This is going to be a little blip in the way things operate, because when you have situations like this, which is an edge case, and a few people have caught onto it and think, oh, yeah, I'll jump on this bandwagon. This is what I want. They'll soon discover that they will remain bitter and lonely and empty without any of those things, because their demands are just simply ridiculous. Imagine if we flipped the table round
Yeah,
and the
I hear that all the
man
time.
did the same.
I don't like that, by the way. As a MGTOW, I always fight against people doing that. I say, do not flip. Yeah, we can't flip it around. Men
No,
are men, women are
I'm
women.
trying to get them to understand that their demands are totally off the left field. They've got to be more understanding that what they're asking for is ridiculous. They have to give something back in return. That's why I'm trying to turn it. If they can't see that, then flip it on its head. Maybe they might see it in that context.
No.
And
They're giving you their attractiveness. They're giving you their beauty. This is their argument.
I
They're
can
giving you
pay
their
for
beauty.
I can hire.
Well, they say then they will call you a weakling and a sad little man and go off and pay. That's what they'll say. Oh, well, okay, you sad little man, go off and pay. If
I don't care about your insults. I'm not
like,
burdening myself with your.
it's very odd. You're beginning to sound more and more like a MGTOW. You're beginning to sound a lot like a MGTOW. This is like what we're saying.
The point is, I'm not a MGTOW.
No, I said, but you're sounding like one.
No, but I'm not, because all I'm saying is I'm standing up for the regular guy.
That's what we're doing too.
Okay.
That's
then maybe we have something in common.
The idea is that the expectations are unrealistic, and there's all sorts of things that go into this Hoeflation phenomenon. If it's really there, it seems to be anecdotal, but I believe it's there. Okay. And it's this. Okay, so in the 20s, young women in their 20s, they play the field. They've been told that they can live the life. The feminist ideal is to act like men, enjoy yourself. There are no repercussions. We've got in what you call birth control technologies and things. If you're sensible, you protect yourself against infection. So you can actually live the life. And in their 20s, when women have their greatest SMV, have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, no. SMV.
I think it's called an acronym. Sexual market value.
Okay.
So the higher sexual market value of a woman, women are born with high sexual market value. They're born with it.
Okay.
What a lot of them don't realize is that as time goes by, they lose it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
By the time they're 30, and I think this is something that should be taught in school and drummed into young girls, and we're not doing it, it should be drummed into young girls. By the time you're 30, you've lost 90% of your eggs. And they're not coming back.
Wow.
By the time you're 30. They're
Did not
not
know
coming
that.
back,
Did not
right?
know that.
Oh, yeah, well, this is the problem. They don't seem to know this. So those who do know, the feminists say, well, freeze your eggs in your 20s. Duh, easy. But they don't mention that the success rate of each round of IVF, the success rate is 18%.
Wow.
And costs $20,000. Do the math.
Hmm.
No one's telling them these things until they get to 30. At 30, the biological clock reminds them, this is the phenomenon we've noticed. It reminds women, hey, you're running out of time here. So all of a sudden, they've been mucking around for 10 years. All of a sudden, they say, hey, I want a serious relationship.
And settle down.
I want to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
And then men go, you want to settle down with me? You've been bed hopping for 10 years and you want me to have your sloppy seconds?
Well, come on. At the end of the day, if a woman is
Not,
wise,
not
she's
going
not
to
going to
happen.
tell the world that she's been.
Well, we know.
But why do we know?
Because it's the lifestyle of the West. In the West,
Yeah, but you
it's the
don't
lifestyle.
know. You
Well,
don't
we
know
do
for
know.
sure.
We do know. You can live in Cloud Cuckoo land. It's like, you're looking for a unicorn out there. No, we know there are no unicorns. You know, issue was brought up in the middle of this. Like I said, I'm very American centric in everything that I know. I know very little about the UK where I actually live. I don't know why. If she's living in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, then
That's a bit harsh on Nebraska. Come on.
well, Iowa, wherever, out
Okay.
there
In the
out
sticks.
in the sticks.
Okay.
If she's living out there, then yeah, okay, possibly, But if she's in a city, and especially if she's been to university, she has lived a life.
That seems to put aside upbringing. You've not mentioned whether or not values brought up from upbringing have an effect on people, because clearly they do. So
Until they go to uni.
I'm not sure about
Until they go to uni. You're not saying something new. I've heard this before. So, oh, but what about upbringing? What about the family? Until they go to uni.
I'm not sure that
they want
people's
Christians.
values.
They want Christian. They want children. They want children, students, people. Not people. Yeah, families want to send their kids. That's the word I was looking for, by the way. Their kids to Christian colleges now, where there is separation. The men's dorm is in one place, the women's dorm is another, and you must not be seen. That kind of thing. It's almost going back to what, the 30s or the 40s or something. That kind of mentality, and they want to send their kids to these schools, which are cheaper, by the way, also, but obviously not enough. They don't have enough.
Getting the education they're expecting.
I think they are getting the education, but they just don't. They're not getting the extra education of indoctrination from leftist Marxist ideas.
Well,
this is the problem.
Whether this is leftist Marxist ideas
we've spoken
play
about
the field.
Yeah, we've spoken about the breakdown of society.
I understand that.
The breakdown of the family unit.
Yeah.
Just live your life. What concern is it of anyone's? When you are 30, it's like you just said now, it's not the man's problem. I mean, why should you even confess to it? You just tell the guy, no, I've only had one boyfriend, long-term boyfriend, or something.
Does that matter? The past is the past. There's nothing you can
do. Does body count matter?
Yeah, does body count matter? We discussed it in a show.
Yeah. At the time, I wasn't aware that females store the DNA of every man they've had sexual relations with.
Sorry?
The females store the DNA of every man they've had relations with. Now, I've got a video.
Are you sure about that? Is that backed up by science? That sounds a bit wayward to me.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be skeptical.
It certainly is without the backup. Store. Is this because they've not used protection? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if you haven't used protection. Otherwise, there'll be no way of I suppose.
Yeah. It's stored even though it dies. I mean, that I find incredible. I've never heard that in my 21 years on Earth. I've never heard that statement before, that it's stored. I mean, come on.
Well, we're not going to have the time for you to. We're not going to have the time for you to, unless you want to pause and.
No,
Oh,
no, no.
mind you.
Let's continue. I mean,
So
that is
anyway, here
something
you
we'll need
go.
to
Here you
check
go.
out. So,
There you
yeah.
go. You know, I will send you these things on
Well,
WhatsApp.
attach it to our blurb if that's the
There you
case.
go.
Yeah? Okay.
Scientific evidence that. See?
Okay. And my WhatsApp has decided to die. Okay. Scientific proof that scientists speculate that women harvest DNA from male partners. Okay. Scientific proof. I'd like to actually look at that in due time. I will share it with the blurb. Or give our audience the opportunity to watch it.
And then we like saying this, and it drives women crazy, by the way. They get really upset, but I find it hilarious. We say, look, what do you call a key that can open any lock?
A skeleton key.
Yeah, skeleton key, or another word for it?
Super key.
Starts with an M.
Magic key.
Master key.
Master key. Okay.
Okay? A master key is a key that can open any lock.
Yep.
What do you call a lock that any key can open?
There's no lock.
Yeah, it's broken. Get it? Right?
Oh, come on.
Okay.
That's a terrible
biologically,
anecdote.
biologically, you have millions of sperm, right?
Men do, yes.
Yeah. Women have a set number of eggs, which they lose every time every month.
Yes.
They lose them more. Okay. So one of them has to be a lot more careful what they do with their instruments than the other. It's just logical.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be more discerning because you've got fewer opportunities with your goods, so to speak, with your biology. Okay, so that's actually factual.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
But where this statement is that women harvest the DNA from male partners.
Sorry, what do you mean? Where's the statement? I just sent you the link.
I know you have, but why?
Yeah,
It doesn't
anyway.
make sense.
Well, okay. So I don't want you to get hung up on it. So anyway, what's the other? You got lost my train of thought. So the first one was what? Master key, and the second one is the number of the thingy bobs. What was the point I was trying to prove? Oh yeah, why body count matters. And then I don't know where the link is. And then there's something called pair bonding.
Okay.
Pair bonding, PAIR, pair bonding. You know, okay. Two more things. Pair bonding. We've got scientific evidence. That's why I said I don't know where the link is. I'll look for it. We've got scientific evidence that women lose the ability to pair bond after about 6 different sexual partners.
What does pair bonding mean?
The ability to, or the desire to stick to one person. The ability.
So you're saying that
to be faithful.
A woman's body count
is higher than 6.
Terrible term, but over 6, then they will forever be unfaithful, or
not forever. They're more likely to be, far more likely to be. Because
is that the same for men?
No, because for men, sex is not really bound to emotion. If men have emotions, right, the sex is better.
Yeah.
Without emotions, the sex is great. it doesn't matter.
That's not true, but okay, yeah.
Sex without emotions is great.
Yeah.
But
sex with emotions
is amazing. Yes. There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
that's for men.
Agreed.
But for women, there ought to be this well, there is. That's a funny thing. There is this intimacy that they feel. It's natural.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, you must have heard of cases where a man and a woman start off just having, friends with benefits kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
But if it goes on, she will eventually start developing feelings.
Yes.
Well, but the man can just like, oh, I thought we weren't doing this, and he can just hop off.
Yeah.
That's the pair bonding thing we're talking about. Right. But you think about sex workers, they've had so many sexual partners. How do they manage? Well, they manage by shutting down their emotions.
Right.
So bed hopping.
So they're basically emulating a man in a sense.
Exactly.
Females are
Precisely.
doing the same thing.
Precisely. And again, we've got videos of women looking into the camera and saying, I didn't know that when I was doing it. And telling other women, don't do it. There's a reason why our ancestors acted in a certain way, but we need to find out again. Oh, that's why they acted like that.
Where's that information then? Why has that been lost?
We're trying new things. We're trying new things.
Right.
And I think there's the reason. Look, the first wave feminism had a point. First wave feminists, they had a point.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy, even as a MGTOW, I'm quite happy to say I'm a first wave feminist. Which is men and women should be treated the same under the law.
Yes.
Well, they could apparently, I didn't know this, I don't know if you did, and I had zero idea. Women couldn't as recently as 1970 something or the other.
Okay.
Women couldn't get mortgages on their own in America.
Really?
Had to be co-signed by a man. I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why?
Well,
see that seems a bit ridiculous. Yeah.
No wonder they wanted the freedom. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Which makes sense
because they were able to vote.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took so long, because they were able to vote from the 20s or something in America. What is it called again? Which I think we should repeal, by the way. The 19th Amendment.
I know you keep saying that.
Repeal it.
I don't agree. So you stop women voting, but then they don't pay
tax? Not stop. After we've repealed it, we give it back to them, but each one has a half a vote.
That's unfair.
No. It's not unfair, because otherwise society will crumble and fail as it is doing now. Society must protect itself. That's the greatest fairness, that we protect our society.
And who decides that society needs protecting and what direction it needs to
because we just look around today. We just look around today and we see where we are. By the way, the other thing I was going to say is there's a disparity between the number of singles in America. Now, this is before the show. I told you
disparity in what respect?
In the numbers they reported. This is where before the show I said to you, I don't have the data at hand. But as I understand it, and as I've been made to understand, about 60% of the men in America are confirmed singles. That they're not, 30% of them are not even looking to get
with a woman.
With a woman. And then
with any sexual partner?
None.
Be gay? Okay, none. They're just
sorry, with a woman.
With a woman.
Yeah, I don't know about other stuff. And then and then another 30% have zero intention of getting married. They are sexually active, but they have no intention of getting married. On the other hand, so that's 60%, right?
Okay.
And then only 30% of the women are in that same situation of being single and being having no intention of getting married.
Okay.
But actually, they can't find a sexual partner or something. There's 30 on one side, 60 on the other. What's going on? What's going on is that the vast majority of women are sleeping with the same minority of men. You know those? The figures the 666.
Yeah.
The 666 are getting all the action. So why don't we go back to having a harem system? Multiple. Because women are quite happy. A woman would rather be with a top percenter than be with what she considers to be a low class male. And women, now that women can work and earn as much as a man, because of hypergamy, there are fewer men that you can look up to. A woman who's earning 100,000, what do you call a woman? What do you call a man with a lot of money?
Rich.
A family. The family. You got a lot of money. You want to get married. You want to have kids. You want to settle down, live their life. What do you call a woman with a lot of money?
CEO? Alone.
Where's she going to find somebody to look up to? She has a lot of money. A man wants to spend his money on his family. It's instinctive. I want to look after my wife. I want to look after my kid. I want to. It's my instinct. Right? A woman wants to be looked after. It's her instinct. I'm not blaming her for it. I'm just saying it's her instinct. Now, if she's earning 100,000, a person earning 30, 40, 50,000 can't look after her. And she's not going to want to look after him.
Why?
It's her instinct. She should be looked after. She wants somebody. This is
where you're getting that wrong. Where you're
no. Hypergamy is well known.
No, the looked after bit does not mean necessarily financial. It means looked after from an emotional.
No. You're talking.
Yeah, they do.
No.
They
it's
want
called
a man
hypergamy.
I understand the term, but
yeah, he's not to understand the term. There's a reason why it's scientifically known. It is hypergamy. There's nothing to argue with.
Black and white.
It is. It's science.
Isn't across the board. It's not.
Well, it's across the board enough for it to be affecting society. That's all that matters.
Okay, but we're talking the numbers that it affects society with are a lot lower than to make it a big issue. It's just a term that's been referred to a small demographic at the moment of women that are earning significant amounts, because in the
doesn't have to be significant. Society, if she's earning 60,000, she wants someone who earns more than 60,000.
Well, it's not always to do about money. It's not. It's not.
For the woman, that's for you. You're a man. For the woman, it is.
It's not. It's not.
There's a reason why. Not. I don't know. What do you mean by trust me? I'm reading hypergamy and you're saying trust me. Sorry, I'm going to go with the people, with the scientists, the social scientists who have looked into all this.
Okay. Then you're the only one that's right, and you've not seen half.
What has it got to be? I'm the only one. I'm not even quoting myself. I'm saying the social scientists.
Okay.
If you're typing hypergamy and you want to, what's the science behind hypergamy? There's science behind it. You're saying trust me. I'm saying I'm going to trust the science.
Okay.
It's and the countless videos that I watch all the time. Okay. That it's in fact, I don't even know what to say, because it's so well known that it's like me arguing that 2 + 2 is equal to 4. It's like, that's kind of basic, man.
Interesting. Seeing as my background was corporate and there was a lot of women that actually did significantly well, they're all really, really high earners, and I'm talking lots. Okay, they're all married in relationships.
Married down.
Yeah,
they're married down.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so give me without
they're
names.
Looking after their man because they can, but what they want is emotional, and they want to be looked after by their man emotionally. Yeah, because a lot of the men they've picked,
how old are these women?
Are not little flimsy men.
Weedy.
Yeah.
How old are the women?
The women are in 30s plus, all of them. And now they're beyond that and still happily married. And the men are not little men. Let's put it that way. So that goes against exactly what you've just said.
Well, all I can speculate is that it must be slightly different in the UK. And as I've always said, my data comes from America.
Okay.
So I've made that absolutely clear. So your claim...
My data is firsthand.
Yeah. It's kind of
because I know a lot of them. That's why.
Anyway, calling me skeptical because you know them, I don't, and I'm still going to stick with the science until we can see this anecdotal, which is what it actually is.
Yes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Until we can have a look at your anecdotal evidence. So I'm just going to do hypergamy in the UK, and then we'll look into that later, because obviously not now.
I wonder whether it is a cultural thing. Maybe it is a societal thing based in the States, because I'm not sure. I could probably see that being a thing in more traditionalist nations like India, for instance. If there was a female earning a huge amount, she would definitely want to look up rather than down. But maybe, perhaps, UK, Europe, maybe not as apparent. I don't know. But from my personal observation, from the people I know firsthand, that is not the case.
Well, like I said, I'll have to look into that. That's a word. And I'll mention it on our TNT talkers.
Yes.
And let's see. And some of my MGTOW groups. Let me see. Let me see what's going on.
Subjectively, if you were to ask a woman that, they may actually agree with you, because that's their ideal. But when they discover that...
Yeah, but you said the 30s. This is what shocked me. If you have said the older women in their 50s and 60s,
no, 30s plus.
And they were marrying down. Very odd. Very odd.
Yeah.
Most unusual.
Yeah. It started in 30s. Yeah. Late 30s. Yeah. Pretty much
Ah,
most of
late
them. That's
30s.
interesting. Interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Is it
It hit the
because
wall.
no,
They're post-war.
I'm not saying that. These are friends of mine, so I'm not going to
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
you can.
No.
And there's video evidence of you going, yeah, post-war, big time.
No. But you
Don't
know,
worry. It's that
it's
asshole tire who said it. Don't worry, ladies.
no, that's why I don't actually believe that statement as it is. Maybe aspirationally they would do, like we would. If we're a single guy, we want to meet the ideal woman, we're gonna picture them, I don't know, slim, attractive, XYZ, you know, these
I
sorts of
never had
things.
that mindset. I had a lot of beautiful girlfriends when I was young, and they taught me not to worry about any of that.
Well,
You want a good woman.
this is
That's
what I
all
mean.
inside.
Exactly. Ultimately, it's the more important elements because you're drawn to someone by their looks, but looks fade. It's the substance underneath that
plus,
keeps you there and the
generally
same.
beautiful. Plus, generally beautiful women are a handful, and they're very entitled because everybody and his brother has been chasing her since forever. And to be honest, I just feel that most of them, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
What was that famous song that was released in the 80s? I'll sing the first verse. See if you can recall it. It goes like this. Forgive me for my singing talents. It goes, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
from my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. And it, and the song was actually a genuine song in the
Really?
80s. Yeah. And it
Okay.
talks about if you want a happy life, you want a happy wife and a happy relationship, don't go for the
The
top
hottie.
pretty ones because your life will be in pain and you'll always be looking over your shoulder. Whereas
Oh, Dr. Hook.
was it Doctor Hook?
No,
Oh,
not
they did a song as
they did
well.
a song. But
Yeah.
the
Don't
moment you
fall
said
in love with a
look over
beautiful
your shoulder,
woman. Yeah,
that's
it's
that's
hard.
that's that's from exactly that's a Dr. Hook song.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so the I've had a quick look at the hypergamy in the UK.
yeah.
It doesn't really say anything. It doesn't look as if it is kind of weird. It doesn't look as if it's such a biggie. It's 57% of UK singles are looking for partners who complement their own attributes. And
Yeah.
this is
Attribute comparison as opposed to income. Income is almost a secondary thing.
so anyway, there we go. If that's the case, then there's a definite disconnect between the American experience and the UK experience. Whereas I had my mindset was that this was uniform across the West.
No.
So it's interesting. Well, we might have to do another show on that.
There's
Back to
many things that are not compatible. And I don't think, I mean, the US has gone a certain way, and everybody says, well, when the US sneezes, everybody gets a cold. But
yes.
I think in terms of relationships and things like that, I think we don't necessarily copy what happens over there because let's be honest, I'm not going to be derogatory for our US cousins, but some of the practices that they are currently pursuing will not come across to Europe. Europe will look at them and go, no way. So,
For example,
well, some of the totally liberal attitudes which are being presented in the States, I don't think they will come across. It seems to be too what's the word I'm looking for? Too far one side. The pendulum has swung
oh
too
right.
far and so yeah, we may adopt some of what they're suggesting, but not the far end, which is what's happening at the moment. The pendulum is swinging too far, too high. It needs to centralize a bit more.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
I think they're planning on making it even worse now. I believe is it New York? New York seems to be experimenting in insanity. I have no idea what's going on in New York. A lot of people say that if someone breaks into their home, excuse me, if someone breaks into their home, they won't even tackle the person. because they might end up in prison. The homeowner.
Well, we've got something like that here anyway, haven't we?
No, I
Because you
think we've
should be
got
leaving it
reasonable
to the
force.
police.
Reasonable force.
Reasonable force, yeah.
We've got here in the UK, reasonable
Yeah.
force. So you
Which
can still
is, I
defend
suppose,
yourself.
but why in America would the owner of the house end up in prison? I thought your kingdom was your home. You could
That's
protect
Florida.
it,
This
or
is
your castle.
New York.
Sorry.
New York is a blue state. They vote them Democrat, heavily Democrat.
So
You're
what?
thinking about Florida, I believe, which is a red state, and Texas is the
Texas is
red.
the ultimate red
I
state.
like
No,
Texas.
ultimate blue state, isn't
No,
it?
ultimate red state. Texas is the state where you say
Oh yeah, red state. Yes.
someone's breaking into my house, and the police officer says, "Well, shoot them." It wasn't your fault. You got
Yeah,
a
no,
gun? Yeah.
that's
All
extreme.
right. Sorry.
Indeed.
Okay,
Texas
so
is strange.
I'm going to do everything I can, bend over backwards to find that clip. It's
Okay.
hilarious.
Hilarious. Okay.
What are you calling us for?
Anyway.
that's
Anyway,
a tire kind of state, man.
it is. You
Yeah.
should move to Texas. You might fit in.
No.
Anyway,
I'm
come
black.
back to topic here
Yep.
about this
Yep, I'm trying to
Hoeflation.
do it. Yep.
Do you think then that it could be a US only centric issue as opposed to something that's more widespread across the West?
You've asked a fantastic question. The reason is it never crossed my mind since I assumed it was a Western thing. I never bothered to check to see if anybody else was doing it because, like I said to you, I get all my data from America, correct? So
yeah.
I never for a second crossed my mind that it's not the same in England, it's not the same in Germany. I just assumed that that the West, which is Europe minus Eastern Europe,
Yeah,
Canada, America, and Australia, to a certain extent, New Zealand. I just assumed it was
also, could you not
homogeneous.
see that the people are parading this evidence in quotes because we haven't really seen objective evidence? It's all subjective at the minute. But couldn't we be seeing confirmation bias here? So people tend to notice and remember the stuff that confirms their belief about what's happening rather than contradicts them. So men who believe that women are making these demands, they might focus on the examples that support this view and ignore the ones that actually don't. So it's confirmation bias.
All I need to do is to find where it says that 60% of men are single and 30% and half of them are not looking to get married. To me, that would just confirm Hoeflation because men do generally want to get married, do generally want to settle down, and if they're not, they feel that they cannot, then due to the Pareto distribution principle,
80,
do you remember that?
80-20 rule?
The 80-20 rule, then men are just a small number of men are chasing the same desirable partners and their standards have gone sky high. And they don't know that until they're post 30 and then they want to settle down and then they find that the expression that the women say is, where have all the good men gone? Yeah. So we giggle at that too.
We do, but there is an element of, it's not an element of truth, it's an element that they were so blinkered by their viewpoint that when reality sets in, they're just...
Oh, and it's men's fault, by the way. It's still men's fault.
No,
because we're not stepping up. You see, that's what they say. Where have all the good men gone? The men aren't stepping up.
So they're allowed to get old. I think you said it one time, actually, how you define women and men, how they age. That men age like a good wine.
Yep. Women age like yesterday's milk.
That's really, no, come on. That's horrible. I know that was meant to be as a joke, but
it's not a joke.
No, but let's be honest. People, if they're aging, they're not going to attract the same standard of people as they get older. They're just not.
And due to hypergamy, they shouldn't even have a problem. Women really ought not have a problem. They age, right? They've got money. they're in a better, comfortable, they're in a comfortable position. They've got a good job. The money coming in. If it was not for hypergamy, they could actually get a young man.
Well, some
Sugar
of them do.
mummy.
Some
Well,
of them do.
yes. I mean,
Cougar.
some of
It's
them.
a cougar, isn't it?
No, no, no. We're talking about serious
A sugar
people.
mummy.
Not sugar mummy. They get a young man, and the young man doesn't want kids, so he's happy with an older woman who can't have kids and everything. And they've got a long-term relationship, or they even get married. And I'm saying, well, if it wasn't for hypergamy, that would work for them, for most of them, but it
So
doesn't,
they are
because
artificially putting this barrier up, or it's not genetic, is it?
it is genetic. It's in the DNA. It's wired into them.
But
It
what are they?
makes it makes
Okay,
sense.
if it's wired into them, it's not to do with income, is it? It's all to do with status of the man. So, for instance, is the man tall? Can he protect me? Can he defend me? Is he someone that could look after me in terms of, I don't know, protect? It's also to do protection.
Yeah, but also you have to be protected financially, surely.
Yeah, but that's a modern thing.
Yeah, but still, you have to,
Yeah, so
in the
that's not
mindset.
something biological, is it? So that's where they have to overcome that, because the money side of it is a modern artificial thing. As long as the man meets and ticks all the boxes from their biological element, then they can put aside the financial one, and then they can, as you say, marry down. But they're not marrying down in their eyes. If they find a man who meets and ticks all those other boxes, it doesn't matter about the money. They will look after him financially as long as he meets her needs biologically from all those other elements.
It's not a modern thing. You think back to the days of Maid Marian
That's not
and
that long ago. I'm
Maid
talking
Marian.
Maid Marian. Yes, you're talking I'm talking biological. I'm talking thousands of years ago,
Okay,
not
caveman.
recent.
All right. So the man with the big cave,
Yep.
with the big cave, and with lots of sheep is more interesting than the man who's living in a hovel under a blooming beech tree and he's got one chicken running around. You're going to go with the guy with the
Listen,
sheep.
sexual desire is a powerful
Oh,
beast.
sexual desire. What do you call it now? The Chad. Have you heard this expression?
I've
Chads and
heard of it,
Tyrones.
but I don't know what it
Okay,
stands for.
Chad is a good-looking white man.
A Chad.
Chad is
Okay.
6'4", 6'4", whatever he is.
Yeah.
He's got the abs. He's got the square jaw and all that.
A
And
Chad.
Tyrone is the black equivalent.
Okay. A Chad
Okay.
and a Tyrone. Okay.
Yeah. So the Chads and Tyrones. So women, yeah, they are attracted to the Chad and the Tyrone.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter about the financial side.
They're not going to marry Chad and Tyrone. They're not stupid. No one's calling women stupid. They're going to marry you and me, and they're going to go hump Chad and Tyrone.
Speak for yourself. I thought I was a Chad.
I'm actually 6'4", so actually, I guess I'm Tyrone. But on seriously, no, they marry who will look after them, but they're sexually attracted to Chads and Tyrones. Now, if they are loose, well, why are we not talking about it?
Why are we not? Are we not? Are you telling me now that you're not sexually attracted to a young, not young, but you know what I mean? Say someone who's in their 30s, attractive female. No, think about that. Biologically, that's still there. But when you think about the logical side of it, rather than the biology.
You didn't let me answer the question. You asked me a question, then you answered it yourself.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't know if you're going to believe. I don't know if you're going to believe me or not. No, I'm not. I've been mixed out too long. I don't give a hoot.
You don't look. You even shared a photo on our TNT Talkers about we noticed the Oreo cookie, and it was a woman with a rather nice bottom.
Not just no. Fantastic bottom.
Okay,
outstanding bottom. But the reason I looked, and I did write about it in response to you, I was wondering, I looked intellectually, is that real? Because she's Caucasian, and Caucasians don't normally have bottoms like that. So I was wondering, I'm sorry, is that real or is that a BBL? And even to today, I am genuinely questioning that, can BBLs look that natural? Because the other BBLs I've seen, they look horrible.
What's BBL?
A Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
There's a surgery to give you a rounded buttocks.
BBL. Okay.
Yeah, made famous by one of the Kardashians, I believe.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
So that was my thing. I wasn't looking like, it's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
come
kind of.
on. You've got red blood in your
promise.
veins.
I
You would have
promise.
looked at
Look,
that
listen.
and you would have thought, come
Look,
on,
listen.
she's
I'm looking
nice.
direct into the camera. I promise you. I promise. Look, honestly, I was looking and thinking, that's weird. Now, if it had been Brazilian woman or a black woman or something, maybe I would have looked, but instinctively I was like, okay, that's weird. So it wasn't a sexual thing, and I'm not even denying that it isn't a glorious bottom, to be honest.
Okay.
She was blessed
That's
by African gods.
interesting.
I wonder what Dr. Isaiah Henry would say about that. I think when you looked at her, your thoughts did speed faster than the wind and catch clouds. and
I mean,
you said you know what it meant.
see, there's looking is one thing, and that's biological, but actually acting on it, that's a
that's
completely different thing.
obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
impulse control, I think it's called.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same with women. If women see an attractive guy from a film, they're going to go, "Oh, look at him." Or some women also go to, what are those things where the male dancers,
Well,
it was famous. It hasn't
go-go clubs, whatever they're called. Is it go-go clubs?
For women only. So you get these strippers on stage and they're all wow, all the women. So they're the same. But would they act on it?
Well,
Some
there's a
might, but the
reason why
majority wouldn't. So
Louisiana has now got a mandatory, I believe it's passed, by the way. Remember we spoke about it? Mandatory paternity test?
yes.
I believe it has passed.
Okay.
So
Well, that's actually a good law.
I think it's fantastic law. But there's a reason why it's required. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. We're getting to the top of the hour, actually. So yes. I want to really get back onto this Hoeflation bit, because a lot of the stuff we've spoken about here it's subjective rather than objective. Let's be honest. I mean, people can be biased in their view when they believe their relationship with a woman or trying to build a relationship with a woman, and she's using Hoeflation requests that are beyond their remit. So you do sort of wonder, they will then be biased by that and think, oh, all women are like this because they've been hurt, when in reality there's still quite a large number of women out there, I think, that don't do this. So this term, I'm just seriously wondering, okay, it's a term that could be used, but how many genuine women are labeled as this? I'm not so sure.
I believe that it's a cultural phenomenon, especially in America. I don't know about the UK or Europe. It's a cultural phenomenon, and I believe that it is either a new and lasting trend. Well, I'm not going to say much here. It's either a new and lasting trend or it is a passing fad. But it is definitely a thing.
I'm not sure it'll be a longer term thing. I think I actually agree. It could be just a passing fad where, women are raising their expectations, because you said they've been influenced by the fact they've been successful with dating hot guys, but it's the same pool of hot guys, and they don't build long-standing relationships with them. They just almost engage in sex with them, and they think, well, I've had one hot guy, I'll have another hot guy, but relationship forming is not happening. It's the guys know this, they're just using the girls for fun.
All right, so let me explain something.
Go on.
If a guy is a 10, he gets all the attention
from everyone,
including the 5s,
9, 8, 7, 5s.
So the thing is, a 5 goes out with a 10, and then she thinks she's worth a 10.
I know.
Right? Yeah. And I believe that is also an underpinning of the Hoeflation.
Yeah. Which is phenomenon. True. I can understand that. Yeah.
So that is also a reason for it. And she thinks that she's entitled to 10s, and then she's waiting for another 10, and she doesn't get it. Meanwhile, have you heard of this thing called a bedroom roster? Women have them too, by the way. It actually have a roster of people who are willing to just show up when you call.
Yes.
So 10 has got this roster, and then apparently he can call up a woman, which is amazing, by the way, to me as a boomer. He can call up a woman and say, "Would you like to come over? This is like midnight," and she'll go over. Seriously?
Yeah.
And she's not heard from him for 2 weeks. It's like you're cheapening yourself. What are you doing?
Well, that's the woman being used, and they're thinking that they're not. So
Amazing. Well, he hasn't spoken to you for 2 weeks, and you don't think you're being used.
incredible, incredible. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.